What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the stream. My name is Max, and today we're going to be, just hanging out with each other and talk about some latest updates when it regards to CES 2025. Can't believe that 2025 is creeping up uh, just next week. It's crazy just to hear that. What's going on, everyone? Just want to say what's up? What's going on, Plasma TV for gaming? How's everything going with you? Appreciate you stopping by the chat. Yeah, I'm just looking at just doing the mic check right now. How does my audio sound? Just did a check before I started the stream. It seemed like it's good, but let me know if you hear anything, some issues with the audio. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick it into gear and stuff. My name is Max. Thanks for stopping by the chat, stopping by the stream, exactly. So I'm about to go ahead and start the stream and just talk about a few things. What's going on, Moan? How's everything going on with you? Yeah, it seems like people are slowly creeping in. So let me go ahead and start going over the latest news and the latest goss when it comes to CES, because CES is about to be right around the corner, and I got some news, some interesting news that's starting to twinkle in. So I'm going to start off with the first news. Is going to be talking about OLED TV specifically, because it seemed like a lot of people who watch my videos or pretty much any type of TVs are more in the OLED domain, and this just came in today. So, which is kind of interesting, and I thought this would be one of the first topics to bring up. So, let me go ahead and show that information. Give me just a second while I go ahead and switch into gears. Let me know if everyone can see this. And the first news of today is that this is brought to you by Flat Panel HD, and just came out today, which is great to hear that in 2025, and this may be announced at CES, that OLED TVs are going to get significantly brighter, and it's supposed to be greatly improved compared to 2024, which is pretty exciting. And I know we keep hearing this year after year, and we're seeing like a little bit of incremental changes here with OLED TVs. But according to this article, it seems that it's drastically getting a lot brighter than last year's model, which is great news for the consumers. So just to go ahead and start diving into this article right now. So remember, this is a rumor. This hasn't been a fact until CES actually kicks off. But the rumor is that for LG, and then I'm going to talk about Samsung displays as well too. LG is rumored to be introducing a brighter, more efficient, a 4-layer OLED TV panel, while Samsung displays is said to be working with an improved QD OLED TV panel. So we're only 10 days away from CES, and multiple TV makers are expected to unveil their 2025 TV models. And so that includes the new OLED lineup. And especially the rumor of the 83-inch QD OLED technology, QD OLED size from Samsung Display, and then also the 165 hertz support from LG G5, which we already knew about, and I talked about that in a couple streams prior to that. But I think what is pretty interesting about this article, if it's true, is that it was talking about even brighter with more efficient OLEDs. So one of the first things that it was talking about with the LG display is that now they may have tapped in into a new way of doing their new 4-layer for OLED TV panels. So originally it was 3 layers, and they was using the micro lens array technology, but they found out that it was a lot more costly to do the MLA technology. So now they have a different approach where they're going to do a four stack WOLED solution, which could, this said in this article, could potentially allow them to remove the MLA due to higher costs. And then also said that the TV is expected to hit peak brightness of 3,700 nits. Yeah, 3,700 nits. So like I said, take this as rumors. We don't know how true this is going to be, but I find this kind of really interesting that LG is really pushing this technology, and they're not backing down with the WOLED technology, and which is good for us, and something that we can expect to see when they start making more announcements at CES. Oh yeah, I want to go ahead and give a shout out. What's going on, SD? How's it going? I got my phone here too, so I'm kind of like doing the multitasking. I need to get a couple more reminders to set everything up so I can see the chat. You can see my screen, and I can see what's monitoring OBS. So now I got my phone right here, so I'm also looking at this too. So what's going on, SD? So yeah, so this is interesting, and sorry if you can see my face over the actual article, but let me go ahead and highlight this. So this is where the quote is at, and here is the 3,700 nits. So it's interesting. Nobody haven't talked about this as of yet on YouTube. So I went ahead and want to talk about it in the stream and see what everyone's thoughts are about this, because LG is really trying to push this envelope, and they're not switching technology. They want to keep with their WOLED technology, WRGB OLED technology, which is good because that's their bread and butter. That's what they created. That's what they made, and they don't want to go to the QD OLED panel. And it's nice to see that now, not only we're getting higher refresh rate at 165 hertz, but they're also trying to push this brightness when it comes to peak brightness at 3,700 nits, which is pretty good. But that's just the LG. We're going to talk about Samsung Display as well too. So everybody, keep your thoughts and our thoughts about this, and we could dive into this a little bit more. So they supposed to reveal this in CES. Hopefully, this is kind of like the news. But they said that they expect a 25% increase in brightness and longer lifetime and higher efficiency. So that's also great news as well too, that longer lifespan, more efficient when it comes to OLED TVs. And LG is seems to be trying to, really push the envelope when it comes to technology. And so the other news that was dropped as well too is that since LG is pushing this higher peak brightness, what a Samsung Display is doing. So one thing that they also doing as well too is that for QD OLED, what Samsung Display is kind of like mentioning is that they kind of figure out where they're able to, and I just realized my face is over here. Let me go ahead and move this right here. So at Samsung Display, just do it. Let me go into more in depth with the Samsung Display. So for 2025 and 2026 QD OLED, they said they eliminated and separated the CF QD substrate, which they print on encapsulation and layer with just one substrate used. And so the question is like, what does that all mean? So by them implementing this updated version of their QD OLED panel, now they're able to reach a brightness of 3,600 nits. And they also trying to target up to 4,000 nits in 2025. So while LG is mentioning 3,700 nits, uh 37 was it 30 yeah 3,700 nit, Samsung Display is trying to push it to 36 or 4,000 nits, so in 2025. So it's going to be interesting to see for CES and when they do the announcement where people start to take a look at these TVs, where these TVs are going to be actually targeting. And it's kind of interesting that you have mini LED TVs that are kind of pushing well above the 4,000, 5,000. 6,000 nit TVs, and now it's good to see that OLED is not being left behind. And we keep on talking about this incremental improvements, but if these rumors are true when it comes to WRGB OLEDs and when it comes to QD OLED technology, it's going to be a huge win for people who are looking for new TVs for next year. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see if I can get my hands on those TVs and actually do the comparison of it, because now that HDR impact is getting to the realms of surpassing mini LED from that just came out a couple years ago, which is very fascinating just to hear and stuff. So that's one thing is just kind of interesting about. But one thing that they have mentioned too is that for 2024, W OLED and QD OLED panels were specified to be 3,000 nits, but they mentioned that the TV did not hit those numbers. So just like how this article mentioned that it's saying 3,700 nits, then for LG side, and then you're hearing 3,600 to 4,000 nits from Samsung display, doesn't mean that it's actually going to hit that when you get the TV. So hopefully I'm wrong on here, but they did mention that when they looked at LG G4, it was able to hit like 1,650 nits. Peak brightness that was after calibration, and then they got 2,400 nits when it comes to vivid mode, and then they got 239 nit of full screen brightness. And then the Samsung S95D, they mentioned they was only to get 1,600 nits when it was calibrated, and then they also had a mode for 1,900 nits in vivid with 314 nits of full screen brightness, which is very similar to a lot of the other reviewers who who measured their TVs. So who's to say? More than likely, they're not gonna hit the 37 or 4,000 nits, but it would be nice to see if they hit over 2,000 nits. That would be a huge improvement just to see something like that. But yeah, it's just very interesting just to hear that we're starting to get more and more news about CES, which is pretty good to know. Let me go ahead and check out the chat right now. So SD was just mentioning that. Let me go ahead. So so just looking at the chat right now, make sure I'm catching up with everything. So SD just mentioned that he said with the full field brightness, not more highlights. Brightness as more content is even master. And then you were just talking about LG being stubborn with the OLED market leaders like Apple doesn't improve hardware. I agree. I think LG feels that they have a little bit of juice in the tank when it comes to their RGB OLED TVs compared to just going ahead just switching over to Samsung QD OLED technology, and then also to its competition. And those are kind of like one of the things that's kind of interesting to see that when it comes to competition, you have a lot more people. You know, they don't want to switch over to certain things. And it's just like especially LG, it's like they put a lot of money in their investment, and then they got a lot of companies as well that's still using their panels, and they really don't see them switching. But at the same time too, you see Samsung is really pushing the QD OLED technology as well, so they definitely taking the market share from LG. And then also, if you look at TCL and Hisense, they also taking a huge market as well, especially being competitive with their TVs with the mini LED technology. So it's it's going to be interesting. CES is coming up 10 days. It's crazy just to hear that, say 10 days from now, that LG, Samsung, Hisense, TCL, maybe Sony is going to be announcing their new TVs. It's just it's just one of those things. It's crazy just to hear that we're at the end of this year. We're at the end of this year, and we talking about 2025, TVs. And it was crazy that we were just talking about 2024, and even the year before that was talking about 2023. It's like time is just going by so fast. So it's just crazy just to get into that and see how much it's changing with that. Let me see here. All right, so let me go and dive into the next thing. Well, actually, before I go ahead, this brings up a good topic. So, Sony is there's rumors about this, and I don't know how true this is going to be. We'll see when this actually happens. But rumor has it that Sony may be doing an announcement, TV announcement, a day before CES, and it's not confirmed yet. But I was seeing if I could try to pull up a video, and I thought I had the video up. Um, and I thought this was kind of interesting. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up for everyone. Yeah, I think I can. All right. Yep, I got the video, and I'm about to go ahead and share this right now. So give me just a second. So this is just a rumor. I don't know if Sony is actually going to announce their TV lineup a day before CES, or it's going to be how they did it this year, a month later or 2 months later. But I found it kind of interesting that Sony just dropped a video yesterday, and nobody didn't talk about this either. But it says that CES 2025 press conference announcement one, and there's also some articles as well that they're saying Sony rumored to announce TVs before CES. So I don't know. So it'll be great if that's true, or it may not and stuff. So take this as a grain of salt. But here's a video that kind of shows that Sony is doing something with CES. So it could be a lot of their, I don't know, they're doing VR headsets, the headphones, they're doing something as well when it comes to AI technology. But I just thought this was kind of interesting that Sony, hold up, I just realized. Let me go ahead and replay this. So right now, there's a Sony video on here. I thought I was sharing this with everyone, but this come out a day, just a day, and this is kind of like showing that it's a sneak peek of what Sony is going to announce. I don't know if there's going to be TVs, but more than likely it's going to be like VR headsets or AR technology, augmented reality, something to do with the headphones as well too. But I thought it was kind of interesting that they had this, and I don't know. We'll see. We will see if they announce anything and stuff. So another things, let me see. I'm just check the chat right now. Uh, what's going on, Jordan? What's going on, Andrew? So far, my favorite TV of this year. That's a great question. Um, to be honest with you, it would be the Bravia 9. And I know that TV has caught a lot of heat because of the price, but that TV, I would say that TV is one of the best mini LED TVs that I have seen thus far. And so, yeah, it's pricey, but I think Sony hit the mark with a lot of things, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I think that TV is a really special TV compared to what I've seen from TCL, Hisense, and don't get me wrong. I think LG did a amazing job with their G4. Samsung has did a phenomenal job with the S95D, the Bravia 8 as well. They did a good job, Sony, with their OLED technology. But as I mentioned before, like the S95D, I really don't like the semi gloss. And then for the G4, I didn't have a chance to review that yet, so I really can't assess to it. But it's a really good TV, and I just when it comes to the Bravia 9 specifically, and this is where I'm talking about like the 85 inch specifically. I reviewed the 75 inch, but I know from looking at the 85 inch version as well. Yeah, it's just that TV is it's a special TV, and I think that's something that I think Sony has did a really good job on. It's just the thing is I think they really need to figure out what they're gonna do about the pricing, and that's something that they need to really figure out. Pricing is an issue with Sony still. They still need to do better when it comes to gaming features. They're doing an okay job with it. Actually, they do a decent job and stuff. They've been putting out a lot of features on there, but I think they could do a better job with the gaming features. The HDMI 2.1, which is I think is still an issue, but it's not just Sony. Anybody who will use MediaTek technology, you only have two HDMI 2.1s. So the thing is that I would like to see for 2025, they need to have all the HDMIs to be at least 2.1. And I know the HDMI 2.2 is supposed to be announced for CES for next year, so that's going to be interesting as well. But who's to say and stuff? So, but yeah, that's a long-winded question. My favorite TV of 2024 is the Sony Bravia 9. All right, so switching topics, another thing I do want to kind of like cover as well too is that it haven't been announced yet, but I did some digging around and found this article. This is on a website. It's a German website, and the reason why I know it's German because I had to get it Google translated. But looking at this German website, there has been a mention that Samsung is coming out with a 115-inch mini LED TV, and it's supposed to be not their flagship, but it's supposed to be QN90F on there. And this has only been announced not in North America, but in Europe specifically with this model. But where I'm kind of going with this is that I'm starting to see a trend, and hopefully I see this for 2025, is that we're starting to get more bigger size screen TVs and we're getting a more of affordable pricing. So who's to say what TCL have in store, Hisense have in store? Hopefully Sony follows suit. Hopefully LG will start to do the same thing as well too. But Samsung not only do QD OLED, but they also do mini LED TV too. And then the interesting part is that since Samsung started doing their mini LED panel and he sold the rest of it to TCL, they now are buying their panels from TCL. And so that's why this rumor seemed like it may be true that Samsung is getting a panel from TCL, and specifically is going to be the 115 inch. So, which is pretty nice. I know a lot of people are saying like, "Oh man, that's way too big." But if you look at a lot of projector people out there, I think 115 inch is very reasonable. And then they did went into detail as in specifically what models they are. You remember I talked about this in the last stream that they mentioned that they not gonna do the E. So this year was D. We thought it was gonna be E. They went ahead and skipped E, and now they're doing F now. And so these are the models that you see here listed here from Germany to Hungary to Netherlands, UK, and Spain. So it's just nice to see that um, Samsung is doing, are getting into the big TV realm, which they always have and stuff, but it's just a question is just the affordability factor. But this is where it goes into more detail where that they're more than likely getting the TV panels from TCL. And then they also had a demonstration where TCL had a demonstration last year. Well, I'm saying last year, like it's 2025. They had a demonstration at the last CES earlier this year, where they have a WHVA technology that was presented at CES, and it's supposed to have been a new VA LCD panel. It's supposed to be said to be more stable when it comes to viewing angles. And I mentioned this as well previously in a couple streams before, that one of the biggest issues when it comes to mini LED is the viewing angles. Because a lot of times, if you sit at a certain angle when you're watching any type of content, you start to notice that the colors start to wash out. You start to see blooming in certain areas, and those have kind of been the things that have been called out a lot when it comes to people who are buying LCD TVs, mini LED TVs, and that's something that TCL may address for 2025. Is not confirmed yet, but it's something that has always been mini LED weakness. Is the viewing angles, the blooming that people mention a lot of time. Which for me, when I was looking at the Sony Bravia 9 and the TCL did a fantastic job in the blooming areas, but at the same time too, they did crush a lot of their blocks. With the Bravia 9, it was super minimum with the blooming, but that's me being like picky with it. I think the blooming was pretty much not there and stuff. I think like 2025, I think they may home in to a point that I think blooming is going to be considered like almost not an issue. Is going to not an issue for people buying TVs going forward in 2025. I could be wrong. There may be some issues with it, but I just noticed that each year with mini LED TVs, they drastically been getting better and better in the blooming department, and especially when it comes to shadow detail, when it comes to black reproduction and stuff. They've been doing a really good job. It's not OLED level yet because they don't have it's not the capability to turn off the pixels, but it's nice to see that we've seen those improvements as well. But going back to this, so Samsung is rumored to come out with a 115-inch TV, the Q90F. One thing that I also mentioned in the article, and we talked about this in previous streams before, is that it's more than likely it's going to be a 4K model. And in the article, they did mention that it would be nice to see if we have 8K. And now we're going back to the 8K realm. I don't know if TV manufacturers are going to start to pick up more 8K TVs. It would be nice if they start announcing that for 2025 for CES. But I think one of the biggest struggles when it comes to 8K TVs is that it's not as bright as a 4K television. It's a lot to do with the pixel sizes, and those are kind of like one of the issues that if any manufacturer try to implement 8K, is those are kind of like the hurdles that they have to run into. That's where you see that in previous reviews before, that you see that the 8K television is a lot more less bright compared to the 4K counterpart. And one thing I could mention is like if you looked at the QN900D compared to the QN90D, it's just those TVs are, you have an 8K television at a premium price, but then you have a 4K television at a much cheaper price, but yet you can hit HDR impact and peak brightness a lot higher than what the 8K television could do on the QN900D, which is something that always been a struggle with from Samsung area. And those are kind of like the things that just, I don't know if they're going to ever figure that out. But it seemed like TCL has really been trying to push this envelope with the mini LED panels, and Hisense is doing the same thing as well. So maybe TCL may have something figured out for 2025. And who's to say? I mean, there's been rumors as well too that TCL may come out with an 8K television and stuff. So I'm not saying that they are, but is let's just see if they may release some information about that. So that'll be nice to see, because you're seeing more games are started coming out with 8K content with the PS5 Pro, and then you got PC is coming out with newer graphic cards that's supposed to be announced from Nvidia and AMD for next year. So 8K is going to be starting to come in more prevalent in that area. I'm not gonna say it's gonna take over, but it's just nice to see it. Hopefully we don't see AK dying out anytime soon. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think on that. Let me go ahead and just see if I could catch up with the chat with this. Let me see here. So SD, let me see here. So Jordan over here, he said Sony Bravia 9 or the LG G4. He said I'll probably be going to get the G5. You know what, Jordan? One thing I do want to kind of like hit on is that since it's so close to 2025, because next week is 2025, I will wait until LG make their announcement on the G5 and see what specifically what they're gonna have, and then from there you can make your decision if you want to go ahead and get a G4 or if you're gonna get a Bravia 9 and stuff. It's gonna be better for you because the thing is that once they announce their new TV lineup for 2025, the TVs are the current TV models is gonna be discounted by a lot and stuff. And those are kind of like the times that it's a good time to buy a TV is when right when the newer TVs are announced, and you'll get a really good price for it, and you also get in the warranty depending on which electronic stores that you go to and stuff. So it would be nice to see that. All right, and so SD was talking about um. So he said you don't really see 3000 nits on the S95D. He said you had the S95D and the 3000 nit brightness hack was useless. So, yeah, so going back to the previous article, let me go ahead and do that. So going back to the previous article, I don't know what LG or Samsung is going to do. I know it's going to be brighter, and I know they're going to be claiming these 4000 nit brightness and stuff, but you remember you got the display area where they claim that their display panel will go to that peak brightness, but then you got the actual the electronics part where you got Samsung or Sony or LG who is going to implement that in their TVs. It's a totally different division, and who's to say if they're going to even do that and stuff. But it's nice to see that they push in the envelopes when it comes to newer technology. So I mean, not newer technology, but pushing the envelope when it comes to making their TVs more relevant for 2025. It would be interesting to see. Now going back to mini LED TVs, um, one thing I am interested to see is what TCL and Samsung going to have in store, and also Sony too, because I don't know. Sony. I think Sony's still gonna continue doing QD OLED. More than likely, they're gonna announce their QD OLED. It may more than likely, if the rumors are true, they're gonna do the 83-inch version and the A95, whatever they're gonna call it, or they may call it Bravia something and stuff. So I know Sony's gonna have their new flagship. I don't know if they're gonna bring back the Master Series again, but I want to see what they're gonna do with the QD OLED for CES or whenever they announce it. And then it was also be nice to see what mini LED TVs that they're gonna do as well too. See if they're gonna have a successor to the Bravia 9. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so let me go ahead and switch to one more final article. And then I'm gonna see if anybody have. So SD, no confirmation as of yet for 83-inch version of QD OLED, but there's been a lot of articles been going and floating around that 83-inch display from Samsung is in the midst of it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Um, so switching it out. So one thing I do want to kind of bring out is that new OLEDs and mini LED TVs that will be introduced. And we kind of like touched on this a lot already, so I'm going to kind of like blow past a lot of this. We talked about LG, about what they're going to do with the OLED. Rumor has it what they're going to do with the new OLED with the four layer portion of it. But they also announced too that they would launch an 88-inch LG Signature OLED 8K television. So, which is great, but you already know that's gonna be going for 20,000. It's gonna go for something astronomical for the 88-inch version of the OLED TV, especially 8K. So I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be relevant to us. But Samsung, we already talked about Samsung specifically. They got here listed S95F. That would be the replacement of the S95D. They're talking about from 55 to all the way to 83 inches. And this is according to Electronic 360 and stuff. So they have this article. So that's where I kind of like got the source from on here. So just kind of like quoting this. But also too, if anybody who is into Hisense as well, they are going to continue to unveil the 100 UX mini LED mini LED TV at this year's show. And it said that the television 100 is supposed to feature 4K resolution at 144 hertz refresh rate. And then it said it also mentioned that they're gonna have 40,000 local dimming zones. And then it said it's supposed to have brightness up to 10,000 nits, which is they talked about that before, but just kind of like seeing it on paper and hearing it, 10,000 nits. We're in the 10 not, and we may be in the 10,000 nits realm. Is going to be really interesting. They also talked about it's supposed to be 25 more percent richer when it comes to color compared to quantum dot television. 40% wider viewing angles compared to their previous TV conventional TVs, which is one of the biggest weakness for mini LED specifically is the viewing angles. Then they're supposed to be having a built-in AI. Who doesn't have built-in AI? I mean, they're just throwing some marketing terms on there. And then they're talking about built-in subwoofer, which is it's interesting. But it's pretty interesting that Hyson and TCL are continuously pushing the envelope when it comes to, you know, doing their upgrades or their predecessors of making their mini LED TVs better. But 40,000 local dimming zones is pretty crazy. We were just talking about just a couple of years ago where it would be nice if it could hit 1,000 zones of local dimming zones, and now we're talking about 40,000 and stuff. So it's crazy. One thing I could say is that with zones aside, which is good to hear. I'm kind of curious to see what Hisense processor is going to be, and that's one of the things that's TCL and Hisense biggest weakness is the processor, because Sony processor when it comes to their TVs is top notch, and if TCL and Hisense can kind of like hone in on their specifically with their processor and how the way they can utilize that, then that's something that will kind of like benefit a lot of things and stuff. So, but yeah, it just talked about other TV, Sony. They didn't really talk about Sony that much. They're just saying like so. This is kind of like where the article I was kind of like getting this from. It said Sony is set up to hold a press conference the day before CES, and so that's kind of like where I was getting that notion about Sony. And so during the conference, they may introduce. They're saying the Bravia 10. It's not confirmed, but in this article they are saying Bravia 10, and then it says supposed to maybe launch in March. So that's something to talk, something interesting to talk about. And then also TCL, they was talking about they're gonna have a new QD mini LED technology that would use anything from in-car display, smartphone, tablets the smartwatches, TV, and projectors. So so they so they trying to push the mini LED technology and push the envelope. So they're supposed to be announcing their new TV lineup at CES as well too. So so yeah, that is pretty much all the articles I have at the moment. And I just kind of want I did this stream because it's the end of the year stream. I want to see if anybody have any topics that they kind of are questions or anything in the chat. But let me see if I could go ahead and catch up with everyone here. Um, Let me see here. Oh, no, people are talking about the PS6. Yeah, so I don't know where the PlayStation 6 is going to be announced. I think more than likely it's probably not going to be announced maybe 2026, maybe 2027. But since they just came out with the PS5 Pro, they're trying to get a good 2 years out of it before they announce their new console. Now the Xbox, on the other hand, I don't know what Microsoft is going to have up their sleeve. I don't know. Microsoft's been doing some interesting things where they kind of going into more into the gaming portion of it, where they doing a lot of cross-platform and they doing their first party development is you can play it on PC or PlayStation or Xbox or something like that, or if you could even stream it on certain devices. So I don't know what Xbox have in store, but the rumor has it that Xbox supposed to be coming out with their new console in 2026. But who's to say what they have in lineup? Um, Let me see what Andrew is talking about. So he said, I currently have an LG G4 77-inch for a couple weeks now, and I could say it's pretty sweet. So far, after having the Bravia 7 and Bravia 8, then the S90D Samsung. Well, congratulations. I'm glad that you like your G4. Yeah, it's a really good TV. I don't have any qualms with the G4. I think LG did a good job. It's interesting to see what they're going to do for 2025. Um, it's crazy to see that they keep pushing this brightness another notch every year. But it's just a question is that going to be really a huge difference when it comes to the consumers instead of just this marketing type spiel? I don't know. And then Jordan over here mentioned he said, I hope Sony A95L go down on the price. So yeah, that would be really nice if the A95L does go up and go down in price. But I don't think they're going to start going down in price until they start making announcing their new QD OLED televisions. And so once they start announcing their new QD OLED television, then that's where you know the price is going to come down for Sony. Let me see what else. Um, let's see. SD saying don't expect the processing improvements on the TCL Hisense as a B3 at Big Three has a strong grip in processing related patents. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what TCL and Hisense have in store, and all I could do is hope. I mean, that's one of their biggest weakness compared to their TVs is their processor. Um, and one thing I could say specifically is that as great as it is to see that they doing a lot of local dimming zone of both the Hisense and TCL, and they're making it a lot cheaper than the competitors. One of my biggest issues is processing when it comes to color banding, HDR banding. I see that a lot when it comes to playing games or even watching movie content, and even when it comes to standard definition. I see it's not as bad as it was the previous years, but this year, the TCL QMA, I did see banding, and it's something that I noticed right off the bat when it comes to their television. When I was looking at the Bravia, when I had the Bravia 9, when I was doing a review on that TV, I didn't see it was it was very minimum where I saw banding. And that's why I noticed that when it comes to the processor, and that's why I think a lot of people need to understand that when it comes to that processing portion of it, that's where Sony is in the clear lead when it comes to that area because I get easily distracted if I see something like that when I'm watching content or playing games. It kind of mess up what I'm currently doing when it comes to playing games or when I'm watching movie content. When I see banding in general, it's just something that is just a huge letdown when it comes to that. So that's something that I hope TCL and Hisense can address for next year. Is really focusing on that banding and stuff. So and then also too, when it comes to motion, the motion is decent, but they do need to do some improvements on that. Simone over here, depending on where they make, goes to the PS6. Everything is pointing to handheld. Okay, so you're talking about handheld. Yeah, I'm not gonna dive in too much in the handheld area because I'm more talking about TVs and a couple in gaming console as well too. Do want to give a shout out to Moan and to Moan as well. He got his own channel where he talks a lot about gaming area, but I don't know handheld. I don't know. I never been into the handheld arena and stuff. I do see some benefits here and there, but most of the time, if I look at my iPhone and stuff like that, it I really don't play games that much on the iPhone that much unless I'm traveling. If I'm traveling, then I probably play a game here and there, but it's never in my head. It's never going to replace a console and stuff. I don't care how much they do when it comes to the technology area. It's just that it never beats. It's never going to beat a console, especially when you sitting down. You have your own big screen TV. You have your own surround sound. You get more immersed when you have your own TV and console at home compared to if I'm traveling and stuff like that. I could get easily distracted and I don't get immersed as much when I'm playing handheld games and stuff like that. Now, if it's something like if I'm playing some like a short event game and stuff like that, I can't name any games at the top of my head, like Marvel Rivals and something like that. I could see myself playing that on a handheld device and then going from there, maybe for a little bit, but it's not something that I could spend hours on end on a handheld device because it's not going to replace what I where I currently game on. Um, when it comes to going back to SD, so the brightness rates is getting out of hand. Well, yeah, the brightness may be getting out of hand. Just the only thing is that they gotta push this technology and they gotta make improvements. And I think one thing that consumers notice the most out of anything is the brightness that pop when they see certain contents. Um, Motion is something that I notice as well. Color motion is kind of like go hand to hand, and then the detail, the sharpness when it comes to the processing and stuff like that. That's something that I notice when I'm looking at a TV. But when it comes to other people, if they could get it for a good price and seeing that the TV is bright, I think that's something that's always going to be on the top of their list. How bright can the TV can get, and then also can it play 4K at 120 hertz? If they kind of like hit that check mark on there, then that's something that they're gonna do, but they don't look at the other things like how they processing certain content, how they do upscaling. I don't know. A lot of consumers don't really care about that. I care about that. I think the upscaling is very, very important to me because I do watch a lot of that SD content, especially when it comes to sports and stuff. Oh yeah, there's a good shout out to the Lions if anybody's watching and stuff. Hope the Lions hit the Super Bowl. Yeah, gotta get that. And that last game was a good game. But anyway, watching SD content like football specifically, that's something that that's an area that I have to get into where I think manufacturers need to work on more of. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes and stuff. It's not something that it's not something that brightness should be the main focus on, but that's something that marketing term that they always like to throw out there. Um and just to see uh if people were going to buy it because of that. So this is a lot of marketing term. Who's to say? Who's to say? I know they're going to make other improvements as well too, because you hear that efficiency, how much is the TV is more efficient. And it's not doing as you're not paying as much when it comes to electricity. You have people who are into environment. That's a huge issue as well too. Power consumption, also too how heavy the TV is going to be. Are they going to make it lighter? I mean, these are like all these type of marketing things. It's like they always like to say they like to throw in there. Oh, it's 15% lighter, or oh, we made this 50% when it comes to less consumption and stuff like that. But more than likely, that's what people like to hear, these marketing terms. And there's no way to really confirm that unless you know, do some tests on it and stuff. But yeah. But anyways, let me see if there's any other questions. Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, hopefully the Lions will get there. I don't know yet, but yeah, we'll see at this next game how they do. I'm rooting for them because it's been a long time since the Lions ever won the Super Bowl. Just even get in the Super Bowl, that's kind of like another question as well too. So that is going to be crazy to see in the NFL side. But let me see here. Plasma TV saying like 10K nits is necessary for HDR and beyond to improve the motion clarity. You know what? That's very interesting. So, oh yeah, give a shout out to Plasma TV for gaming. He got some really good content. So check him out if anyone gets a chance. And he been doing some really good reviews as well, especially on the S95D and the S90D. He been doing some comparison as well. And yeah, so I just want to give him a shout out on his channel too. But going back to the whole 10K nits, I would like to see TVs to go to 10K. So I know people are saying like 10K is too bright, but I don't know. It seemed like there's one of those things that I would like to see. And my camera just went out just a second ago. So it is telling me I need to wrap up in a second. Hold on, I'm gonna take some more questions before I go ahead and chat. Yeah, my battery drains a lot when I do these streams like this. But yeah, because I did this stream for just a little bit over an hour. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, my battery says it's still good, so I'm wondering why it's doing that. Maybe it might be a setting I have to take a look at right now. But SD mentioned that 500 nits full field doesn't sound as good as 300 nits. Yeah, you're right about that. So it comes down to marketing. Yeah, nobody doesn't like to hear 500 nits. People are going to say, "Oh no, that's crazy." But I mean, looking at 500 nit full field brightness in actuality is a really good thing because I think OLED TVs can only do like what 240, 230, 220 range. Don't quote me on that. I think it's around the 200 range. I think it's around like 220 or 230 and stuff like that. So they haven't been getting brighter in regards to full field. It would be nice to see if they could get into that 500 or 600 nit brightness realm, but yeah, we'll see. Plasma TV talking about we need to get 10K full screen. That would be that would be crazy if we get into 5K realm. Man, even 1,000. I mean, cause I seen 1,000K full realm full screen, and I mean that's pretty bright. So I could just imagine 10 times the brightness? Man, I don't know. I can't even imagine or even fathom that. And I mean, but I don't know. That'd be nice to see as well too. All right, so if anybody, no one else don't have any questions, I'm about to go ahead and wrap this up. There's going to be a little bit shorter stream that I did before, but yeah, CES is just around the corner, 2025. Interested to see what they're going to announce. I'm not going to CES this next week or in the next 10 days, so I'm just going to be at home, just be posting the latest news and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to go the next CES next year, see how that goes. But as of right now, I'm just gonna be posted. But I do wish everyone have a happy holiday. Hopefully everyone had a good Christmas and hopefully you have a happy new year. I might do another stream next week. I haven't quite decided yet, but we'll see how this goes and stuff. But other than that, I appreciate everyone stopping by in the stream, in the chat, conversing. It really means a lot to me and stuff. I want to make sure I could keep that going and keep, growing from here and stuff. So I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone has a great 2024. Hope they have a better 2025. And I hope everyone have a happy new year. And until next time, I'll see everyone on the next stream.